Hi everyone, my name is Mama Tiff and welcome to my YouTube channel Life, Love and Little Ones, discussing all things parenthood, relationships and of course the most important, motherhood. If you like what you see, please don't forget to share my videos and subscribe to my channel. So I thought, what better way to kick off my YouTube channel, Life, Love and Little Ones, than with my birth story. So I'm actually a mum of two. I have a beautiful baby girl who is 2 years old and a beautiful baby boy who is 4 months old. So I wanted to start this channel to really just connect with other mothers because I just feel like relatable mum content is just on the rise at the moment, and it's so important that we just be honest about motherhood and be honest about how difficult motherhood can be. So I thought I would share with you all my story of becoming a mum for the first time and share my birth story of my daughter. So I had a relatively easy pregnancy, no major health concerns. I'd actually had a miscarriage just before we conceived our daughter. And it did kind of overshadow the pregnancy slightly, just mainly because obviously I was very concerned throughout my pregnancy. I was a very worried pregnant lady, you know, that something was going to go wrong or that I was going to lose her. You know, it was in the back of my mind all the time, sadly. So I did have to go in a few times to triage when I had reduced movements, because they do say if you have any concerns when you're pregnant or you feel like baby's just not moving as much as what they are used to, then you definitely should go to triage. And they're so welcoming and it's really important that you do so, just to ease your own mind, because let's face it, being a mother, as soon as you fall pregnant, there's nothing but worry. I'm sorry to say, it doesn't get better. You'll be worried for the next rest of your life basically. So I did go in a few times for reduced movements. Every time she was absolutely fine, she was perfect, and she came out being quite a sleepy baby, so kind of made sense that while she was in there she was just chilling. She was just chilling, quite happy. And when I was 39 weeks I went in again for reduced movements, and they in turn obviously did all the checks. She was absolutely fine. They then offered me an induction. Now I, at this point, was very pregnant and very ready to get this baby out, needless to say. So I thought to myself, great, an induction. They'll start the labour, I'll have the baby, I'll be in and out in a day. Brilliant. For anyone or any mothers out there that have had an induction, I can imagine you laughing right now, because that's not how it works. I knew nothing about inductions, needless to say. So yeah, probably not my best move, but I did sort of say yeah, absolutely, because my daughter was born sort of the back end of summer. And for anyone not in the UK heat waves are no joke. Like, they're no joke. So this was like 40-degree humid heat with an 8-pound baby inside of me. I was not doing okay. So I was like, absolutely, let's get this induction started. Let's get her out. So then the following week they booked me in, they took me to a ward, got settled, and it was all great. So the first part of the induction, now I should explain, every induction is different. So there are some women that can go in for an induction and they can already be, you know, a few centimetres dilated. So they might just go in straight and break your waters and that be that. However, if, you know, there's absolutely no progress, no movements, then they do sort of other things to sort of slowly start labour. So the first thing they did was put a pessary into my cervix. Delightful, by the way. And this is supposed to start getting your hormones going to sort of try and induce a natural labour. So they put this in, they leave it in for 24 hours and just kind of leave you to it, tell you to go over walks, you know, just sit back, relax kind of thing. So we're like, okay, great. Fast forward 24 hours, nothing was happening. She was quite comfortable in there. She was not keen on going anywhere, so brilliant. So the next part of the induction was a gel that they put in. This sort of, it's just kind of kicking it up a bit, you know, kicking it up a notch here. So this did start some contractions, but then they gave me Oromorph, which is sort of I think it's like a type of morphine that they give pregnant women to help ease the pain. And as soon as they gave me that, contractions stopped, everything stopped. Then the worrying part of it was they had to pause my induction. So the doctor basically explained, look, we've got no rooms downstairs. You're going to have to sort of wait, essentially, because if you were to go into labour right now, you would be having this baby on this ward where you are. And I was like, excuse me? Absolutely not. I don't think so here, pal. Like, so I just sort of was like, right, okay, so there's no room downstairs. And now you're telling me that if I go into labour now, I might have to have this baby right here where I am. Slightly concerned at this point, but okay. So we're now an extra day in because nothing happened for a day. We are now 3 days in hospital. So at this point, I'm getting a bit I'm getting a bit stressy, needless to say. My partner's been sleeping on a chair for 3 days. Not that you would hear about it because he never talks about it. So yeah, it was starting to get a bit stressful at this point. They then said, look, we're fine to go downstairs, so let's get some more gel in you. And they did that, and then this really sort of ramped up the contractions. I was really, contracting. They were getting closer together. They were so painful. So at this point, I was sort of getting more excited, like, right, okay, now we're ready. Now we're going to start doing this. Unfortunately for me, I started to throw up in labour. So I wasn't even really in active labour at this point, but every contraction I had, I would throw up. So it would be like, ooh, oh, it was it was not pleasant. It was not pleasant, needless to say. I must have thrown up in labour probably about 80 times. It was brutal. So then they started to pump me with anti-sickness. I must have gone through about 5 anti-sickness bags in the space of 3 days. Because obviously I had nothing, I couldn't get anything in. Every time I was eating, every time I was drinking, a contraction would come and it was coming straight back up. So, and this is now, we are now 5 days in hospital here. So I crawling the walls. I just want her here at this point now. I'm like, oh my gosh, when is this gonna end? And the funny thing was, so I went in hospital on the Monday. We're now on Friday night and contractions were getting more, throwing up more. The doctor then came in. I must have had about 4 pricks on this arm, 4 pricks on that arm because they couldn't get a vein. I was dehydrated, like nothing was getting into my body at this point. It was just coming out. So it was so embarrassing because this was like the middle of the night and obviously I'm on a ward, right? So they had to put the lights on, they had to disturb the 5 other women that were in this ward with me who were already probably disturbed because they'd been hearing me throw up for the last 24 hours. So it was just an absolute nightmare. It was like something out of a movie. I was like, oh my gosh, honestly. And then there's me like throwing up. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. Because, you're delirious. I was delirious. I was like, I don't know what is going on with my body right now. And then the funniest part of it was my partner was sleeping in his chair, his, very uncomfortable chair. And he had the blanket over his head because I had told him beforehand, I was like, you just get some sleep because hopefully when you wake up, we'll be ready to go and, we can get this baby out. So you're going to need some rest. So I'd encouraged him to go to sleep. And then the next thing, obviously the doctors were like, we need to take her downstairs now. She needs pain relief. We need to break her waters. We need to get this baby out right now. So it was a bit of a panic. And obviously the nurses and the midwives, he's still got the blanket over his head at this point. They're getting a wheelchair, they're trying to get me in the wheelchair, and then someone just nudges him like, we're going downstairs now. So my poor partner's like, oh, right, okay. Like, trying to just grab all the bags. Like, he was in a pure panic mode. And as we're going downstairs, he's like whispering to me like, why didn't you wake me up? Like, that was super embarrassing. They're going to think I'm some deadbeat baby daddy now. So it was quite funny. And then we got down to the delivery suite and they got the magical drug that is pethidine in my legs. All hail, all praise, pethidine. And it was just instant relief. It was instant relief because my pain was just kind of like subsiding. Contractions felt like they were easier to sort of get through and that kind of thing. For new mums, right, what does a contraction feel like? So a contraction essentially feels like, imagine the worst period cramp you've ever had in your life. Like the worst one. Times that by about 1,000, then that's what a contraction feels like. That's the best way I can describe it anyway, so. So anyway, at this point we're down in the delivery suite. We called my mother-in-law, my partner's mum, because I wanted her to be my second birth partner. It's quite important for me that obviously my partner had that support as well as me. Obviously my mum isn't around anymore, so it was nice to obviously have my mother-in-law there for us both. And they tested my urine and they were basically like, Tiff, you do not have enough ketones in your body right now to give birth. You physically don't have the energy to give birth right now. So we need to try and get some food in you. We need to try and get something other than anti-sickness in, because they were pumping all this anti-sickness in, but it felt like it was just gathering in my belly, waiting for the next contraction to then just violently come out. So that was great. And at this point, so my mother-in-law, she's trying to feed me like wine gums and sweets, and my partner's got the gas and air on one side, so it's gas and air, like water, sweets, gas and air. This was just the process. Oh, contractions come in, I need a sick bucket. This was the process for a few hours. Like, this was all that was happening. And then obviously the pethidine was making me delirious. So I would close my eyes for all of like maybe 2 seconds. And it was like I would have like a full-blown dream. It was incredible. I would have a full-blown dream and then I would wake up and I would just be talking absolute nonsense. I think one of the phrases I said to them both when I woke up was, we have to get the house from young Sheldon. We have to get it. We have to get that house. It's on sale. It's a good price. Like, I'm talking absolute gibberish at this point. But we got further along in, and the last part, so I was about 9 centimetres dilated at this point, and the midwife had basically said, right, we need to insert our hand to basically move the last bit of cervix, because this is what she's struggling to get out, because there's just that little bit of cervix left. So then her hand just disappears up there and she moves this part of my cervix, and then suddenly we are go. Like suddenly I'm in the thick of it, I'm pushing. I had my mother-in-law and my partner on this side, and my partner's black, but I've never seen him look as white as a ghost as what he did. Because he's obviously just seeing what's happening here, like, oh my God, this is crazy. So at one point, because the midwives, they're very positive, they're very upbeat, like, that's it, that's a great push. We need you to push again, an extra hard push this time, Tiff. Oh, I can see the head. Oh, look how much hair she's got. Oh my goodness. And as our head is like coming out, the midwife says to my partner, would you like to touch the head? Have a little touch. Look how much hair she's got. And my partner's hand just sort of goes like, because he's terrified at this point, like a human is shooting out of me, and his mum's like, go on, son, get in there. So he touches the head, he's like, oh, okay. Like, he's freaking out at this point. He's about to become a father. It's a big deal for them too, And then there was a point where they had basically said to me that, Tiffany, she's struggling here, we're gonna need to cut you. And I just shot up. I was like, immediately, absolutely not. I was like, no, you are not cutting me. Let me do this. I can do this. And I think it's really important that unless a doctor or a midwife is saying to you, this is an emergency, this is absolutely medically necessary, you can say no to things, because I just didn't want that. I didn't want to be cut. It was very important for me, it was, I had seen things I was like, absolutely not, unless it is, you know, absolutely medically necessary, no. And the reason they had done that was because I'd had a contraction and she'd come out to like sort of here, and then obviously the contraction stopped. So the midwife had to actually push her back in. I had no idea at this point. This was something my partner told me afterwards, but this was why they were thinking like the head is struggling here, so we just need to cut to get her out. And I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm very glad I did that as well, because my partner, he literally said to me, I seen the tray coming over, and I kid you not, Tiff, it looked like something out of a torture horror film. Like, I was terrified. And I was like, God, I'm so glad I said no. And then she was born, she came out, she cried for all of 2 seconds, and then she was put on my chest, and it was just, there is no feeling like it. It is just euphoric. It is the best feeling in the world. And you, as soon as that baby is on your chest, you forget all the pain, you forget all the, you know, uncomfortableness of pregnancy, all the sickness, all the hard months that you've had. And you've just created this beautiful little human, and it's just the most euphoric, incredible feeling. And it was just amazing. It was amazing. She was incredible. She was wide-eyed, like she was so wide awake when she was born. It was crazy. It was insane. And my only sort of, you know, regret, if you will, would be that I didn't record. I recorded her coming out, but I really wish I had recorded the whole thing, the whole process, just had a camera in a corner somewhere. And the reason for that is because as a mother, there are definitely days where, you know, you doubt yourself, you get mum guilt, and you know, you just think, am I doing a good enough job? Like, are they okay? Have they got this? Have they got that? Like, what do I need to do? Can I do more? Do I need to do more? And I would really love to be able to go back and watch my first labour and just tell myself how incredible I am and remind myself of that. So if I could advise anything to new mums, like, obviously this doesn't have to go anywhere, you know, it doesn't have to be posted or, you know, shown to everybody. But it's just something there to remind you how much of an amazing job you have done bringing life into the world. And essentially it is the start of the most incredible journey that you're about to embark on. So that would be my one bit of advice for you. And, you know, entering motherhood, it's incredible. It's hard work. It's incredibly hard work. But when you have amazing mothers that share their stories and support you, it makes it even more better, because as hard a work as it is, at least, you know, you've got that support. So thank you for listening to my story, and thank you for watching this video, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more.